Oh.
When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening live to 105.3 and 107.7 to United Public Radio Network, also known as UFO Paranormal Radio Network, or just UPRN, out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, and you're listening to The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. I'm one of your hosts, and my amazing co-host, who he can introduce himself in just a sec. I get the housekeeping things out of the way. My name is Lorilei Potvin. I'm a Canadian clairvoyant medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, and registered nurse. I am also the host of my own show here on UPRN on Monday nights called The Angel Rock with 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This Monday, I'm going to tell you guys and remind you at the end of the show, I have a special guest coming on. We will not be on YouTube because we're going to be talking about some healing things that are coming on, but this person has been quite the activist in the world about what's going on and stuff. So sometimes some of the bigger channels don't like to see her on there. So it's going to be a mystery guest. I know you'll enjoy her. I know you will love her, but just so you know, we will not be on YouTube. I can guarantee you that. Anyways, if you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends and family. And you can share our network with them. There's something for everybody on this network. We've been around for 25 plus years. We stream multiple shows every day, 7 days a week. And when we're not streaming live, the archive server is going. So we have many great shows from, like I said, up to 25 years ago. Great guests, great hosts that were previously on the network, and syndicated shows. So make sure that you tune in and tell all your friends. There's, like I say, there's something for everybody. Also, we are streaming to you on Roku. UFO Paranormal Radio Network has their own TV channel, and that's where we're streaming to you on. So how to find it, you're going to sign in to Roku. You are also going to look for the channel store and search UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop down menu that comes down, and we're about the third down. You're looking for UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio. So that is where you will find us. Lastly, if you've never been to stream like our shows, or you've never ever signed up for StreamYard, sometimes what happens is when you use Facebook, you're going to come up as a Facebook user. Don't worry about that, because I can see Nicole Thomas Ryan, so she's done it already. But if that happens, we'll highlight you in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, and it'll say Facebook user. Now you can choose to stay anonymous, but if you want us to know who you are, because the show is very audience centered, we love to have you part of the show. Otherwise, David and I would just be chit-chatting, which would be great, but we love to have an audience. So you can head to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Just give them permission to use your name and your picture, or you can put your name after your comment if you prefer. I think I remembered everything. Take it away, Dave.
I think you did a pretty damn good job. That was a lot of stuff.
I'm still sick. I'm stumbling a little bit. I don't have you guys, I don't have a script or anything. It just comes out of my brain. Hi, Michelle. She's in Australia. Like I said, we see Nicole Thomas Ryan here too. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Hey guys, my name is David Hanzel. I'm a spiritual medium. I am a guide and angel channel, as well as a healer and a spiritual counselor, if you will. I love all things spooky, just like Lorilei does, and that's what we talk about on this show. So this show is where this is a little bit outside of what I would normally do as a medium, but in this show we like to talk about all the unseen things and discuss it, and I don't know, get a little better
Yeah, but that's
foothold
what
on it.
people want to know. And this is our new co-host for Halloween. My son, he fell over. He's so bony. Justin named him. His name is Murray. And
Murray's a good
this is
name for a skeleton.
well, actually, we have a bigger one named Murray that stays out all year, and we dress him for occasions. And then I found a bunch of great full-bodied skeletons for Halloween. So I made the sign up. It says, "Hi, my name is Murray," on Monday. And just as I wrote the sign out, my son Justin came in and said, "I think I'm going to call this guy." What did he say? Pete. I go, too late. He's Murray the second. So Murray, I thought, could join us during. Yeah, Michelle remembered. She said Pete. So he's I guess he's Murray Pete or Pete Murray for. I thought we'll have him for the Halloween season.
And I think, and that's perfect actually for tonight, because we're going to talk about haunted items and stuff. And maybe if you guys keep an eye on Murray might move for us. I don't know if you know.
I could bring him, but I do this in my bedroom. That's why sometimes if it's cloudy or icky out, I'm in a building that's really concrete, the walls. Now it should not be a problem because I'm right over top of the router, but I have been right across from the router, like literally less than a meter for those that do metric, like about not even 3 feet away, and it'll still cut out. The only way to ensure a real signal that doesn't cut out is to hardwire it into the laptop.
Oh, I know. It always tells me to hardwire in the laptop. I'm like, no, not in this day and age. Please figure it out.
It's not hard. It's not hard to do. I've even used a Wi-Fi extender with I still have my old computer. It's down here, and it wasn't really broken or anything. It just was slow, and it would definitely cut out. Like
did you notice, not to bring it up, but did you notice it was like, I think it was last week or over there, I had from Friday on, I was having problems in my house with a lot of Wi-Fi things. My phone was, and I thought, and I had asked, is there something wrong with the Wi-Fi in this area? They're like, no, it's fine. Your speeds are fine. Everything's fine. And I'm like, well, what in the hell could be going on? And there was one day, it was a particularly not a good day for me, and not like, terrible, but it was like, it was just kind of a day. And I looked at it, they were talking about the retrograde was happening. I'm like, what? I didn't even notice. I'm not really that affected by that stuff that often.
I don't give it energy.
Yeah,
I know
that's the whole thing. Do. I don't give it, whatever. And it's like, I don't know if I was having a bad day because of that. But I will say, this has happened to me before during certain retrogrades. My stuff goes bonkers. And then I know I did, some of the mediumship readings I have done over the weekend. We had one lady I was talking to, and we were fine until we started talking to one of her relatives, and then the screens kept freezing up. And that was Saturday morning. It was every time we talked, and she came, these ladies came on. One of them booked the session for her friend, but she sat in with her because her friend wanted to speak to her husband or something. And we kept freezing, and I didn't know why. I mean, it could be literally anything. I'm not going to chalk it. I don't want to say that every time a computer freezes, it's spirit. But I will say, more times than not, that's when it happens during mediumship readings.
Hi, Howie.
It doesn't happen. Hi, Howie. Adele. Hi, Mish. Hi, Nicole. Thomas.
People through and different people's energy and stuff. I could see that. You know what I remembered? I forgot to tell people. If you want to join in the conversation like Howie and Nicole, please head over. We're streaming to you tonight on Facebook and YouTube. So David is streaming on his channels, The Spirit Experience, and his group on Facebook. I just pinned the show to the top of my Facebook profile under Lorilei Potvin. It is public. Also, we're streaming on UFO Paranormal Radio, the page on Facebook. We're streaming on, Canada's Most Haunted, my YouTube channel, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. One thing I do want to do, I want to give a shout out. I'm going to start trying to do this. Is you guys, on Monday we talked about the Ellen Greenberg case out of Philadelphia, and I would really love if you love our show. And if I'm a true crime fan, what a terrible thing to say, a fan, but I do follow it. And this case, there's a lot of injustice with it. Her parents, Sandy and Josh, have been fighting to get. It's a long case I won't get into, but I encourage you to look up Justice for Ellen Greenberg on Facebook. Even better to go to Gavin Fish, FISH.com. He has covered this case extensively. They really need your help. They need your support. They need letters written. And it is a real travesty of injustice what has been done here. So I wanted to make sure to call that out. And hi, Howie. I think I said hi, but just in case.
Hi, Howie. Hi, Howie.
Yes, yes. So, because there's people listening. I didn't even know that till this year. Apparently, 80% of our listeners are audio. So this show is really audience. Well, both my shows are. This isn't mine. This is ours. But my other show too, I always involve the audience because I hate when I go to a live and, if somebody's busy or the chat's super busy, I can understand you can't see it. But when you've got a bunch of people there and they're there to support you and they've got questions they want to ask or whatever, and nobody looks at the chat, it's like, you know what? I got other things I want to watch that are live. I can come back to this any other time. So that's why I'm always so cognizant. How about you, Dave?
It is. It's the same thing. And you guys, if you're on, if you're listening to us, you can write to either of us via Facebook or Messenger, or if you place a Messenger, or you can write to me at david@theywhisperedme.com if you have questions or ideas for the show. Go ahead and put them out there because we'll discuss them on the show. We love it.
And the easiest way to get a hold of me, most people know this if you know me, is on Messenger. I mean, I have the angelrock1508@gmail.com. You can write me there. But you know what? The fastest way to get a hold of me is that way, or on social media. Just message me. People do message me on LinkedIn. I don't go on there that often. I usually go on there once a week when I promote the show, but I even get messages from there. So any social media platform, it's the quickest and easiest. But yes, we want ideas, don't we, Dave?
We sure do. And I have to talk about something real quick before we talk about the dolls. So, hi, Lizzie. How are you?
Hi, Lizzie.
So I joined a couple NDE groups, the near-death experience. For those of you who don't know who that is, I've joined a couple of those groups just, to see, talk to. It's still, if you're somebody who had an NDE, it's still sometimes nice to hear other people's NDEs. It just because the phenomenon is so strange to have. But one of the ones I was in, this is what I don't understand about these groups and how people work. A girl had asked a legitimate question in the group. She did not have an NDE. She was talking about death and so on and so forth and all this. And that she had this little fear and all this, and asked if anybody had anything to say about having a fear, So I was reading through all the comments, and I quickly noticed something. There was nobody in that comment section, Harley, who's ever had an NDE. And and the comments that these people leave are atrocious and and it's like, I just wanted to ask half of them, what are you doing in this group? There's one guy going, well, there's no such thing after he wrote to her, well, there's nothing that happens after life. And I'm like, you're in an NDE, a near-death experience.
Dave, that's you're an admin. I have two groups. That's on the administrators. That might be.
It is. Well, some of them I left the group. Yeah, I left some of those groups, and I wrote to the people and explained to them why I left the group. And I said, you're not monitoring stuff, or why did these people not know? I said, you had almost an entire comment section. Some of them weren't trolls. They were just, I don't understand if they knew
belong there, because like I watched this video on YouTube a couple of years ago, and because I like to hear people's near-death experiences, and her name was Barbara Causey Bartolome. And I was so touched by her story. I reached out and she answered me right away. And I actually had her on my show probably about almost 6 months ago now. I'd forgotten we were going to have her on, and I was going through some old messages. I go, who is this lady? And I read the messages. I went, oh my gosh, I was going to have her on. And I did. And there's nothing wrong with being in a near-death experience group if you're trying to understand. And I know you're going to agree with me, Dave, about what happens. Like, why do these people believe there's an afterlife? Even if you don't, but yeah, that is on the admin. That should not be allowed. It should be a safe
Yeah, it's not.
space.
And I noticed this
to
too.
support.
A lot of people would express their stories and they express them from a religious point of view, which I will tell you, and you probably know from researching so many,
Mhm.
religion kind of gets thrown out the door in an NDE.
Yeah,
Yeah.
religion
And
is
everybody who I've ever spoken to who's had a real NDE or an NDE never says like, oh, you prepare yourself for hell and all. And these people were doing that. And I'm like, they were saying, oh, in my near-death experience, there's one guy who wrote a book and he wanted everyone to read it. And he had a clip on it. And his entire thing from his NDE was riddled in fear. It was literally like you were reading the Bible. He was saying, oh, I've learned that I was told that you have to repent and do all this stuff. And I just asked him straight out. I said, you had an NDE. And he goes, well, I had this and that happen. And I said, where's this information coming from? He goes, my NDE. And I was like, I just looked up some of the things that you said, and it wasn't from an NDE. It came straight out of the Bible. So,
well, the same thing. I've met people, and of course, it's not my place to tell somebody whether you've had an NDE or not. But what some people don't understand what an NDE is, a near-death experience, and how we're all passionate. You are, David is, I am. Anybody that's had one is very passionate about it, I believe. And even people maybe that haven't had one but are curious to understand more about it. And if you're open-minded and going in there willing to learn, then there's nothing wrong with that. But like a lot of people think just because your heart stops and you stop breathing and you get resuscitated, that you've had a near-death experience.
Yeah, no, not always.
Had a near-death you've had a near-death clinically, but not about what we're referring to in the way of a near death. And I'm not trying to make it sound so elitist, like, oh, only we.
It's not, but I'll tell you this. Everybody that I know who's had an NDE, they will tell you their entire life has changed. It just does. There's nothing you can do about it. And the
usually come back with gifts.
Yeah, like, or you get gifts. Yeah, I've known people there's some people who could like speak another language sometimes and all this other stuff.
Or spiritually or intuitively. You know, the biggest story I've ever seen with the biggest change is Dr. Eben Alexander. Have you heard his story?
I may have known who he was. Was he the
neurosurgeon that was?
He was a neurosurgeon, yeah.
And now he doesn't even work as a neurosurgeon.
No. Yeah, he was also an atheist, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was an atheist, yeah.
Yeah. And I know, and if anybody's listening right now, I want to tell you something about atheists. There is nothing wrong with being an atheist. You want to be an atheist, you be an atheist. That is okay. Anybody who tries to change your belief, that's your belief and it's nobody else's. So they can go to you know where. But because I know the reasons why some people choose atheism. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
It's but I think we need to be respectful of all beliefs. Like when
all beliefs, yeah. But whenever there's a belief that comes in that is fear-based beliefs, like those NDEs that go, oh, they said this is gonna happen. Like we're supposed to be in the rapture right now. I've been looking at my window all day long, looking for floating people, and there are none. And I was so upset. It was the 19th that was supposed to happen.
I don't know. It's the 23rd, and I've heard,
they'll change it again. And I mean, you guys, everybody can believe whatever they want to believe. I personally don't believe in the rapture. So, but hey, if you believe in it, maybe you'll get caught up into that world, and you can go float up into the sky or whatever you think you're going. And that's
but where I was going with this too, Dave, is that when I'm teaching or doing a show or doing readings, I always say, it could be, some people call it source, some people call it God, some people call it the universe, or maybe you don't believe, and that's okay. It's okay. It is.
You know how many I have talked to some atheists too, and they ask me about stuff, and I'll just say, so you're an atheist, so you believe in nothing at all? And they're like, well, I kind of know there's an energy after here. I'm like, okay, I got you. And I don't try on them.
That's more agnostic.
Agnostic, I think, are
something you just don't.
I think agnostic are people who it's like they want to believe, but they kind of don't. They don't really try.
There's something.
Yeah, I think maybe there's in nothing against all Christians, but I think in Christianity it has kind of scared so many people away from religion just because they teach a lot of bad things or a lot of hate, really. And in like my parents' church, that's so different. They are Baptists in the South here, and most people in their church are very sweet. They really are. I don't know what they're like behind my back, but they're very sweet to my face, and they seem to want to help people all the time. But there's a few in there, I've heard them say certain things. And even my mom said to me, David, do you think that was right? And I'm like, well, it's not me to decide whether their thinking is right or wrong. But I said, no, I don't agree with anything they're saying. And she said, well, neither do I. And I said, well, good. You believe what you need to believe. You want to go to church? Go to church. Enjoy your church.
You know what, though? I used to always think, like, I never bashed religion, but I used to say it's not for me. I was raised Roman Catholic, forced to go to school, Roman Catholic, church every Sunday, but it's not for me. And some people need that. And then I was listening to this, I think it was a channeler, and they were talking about, and I'm not going to do it justice, but they said, say you had kids that you hadn't seen in a long time that you wanted to see. Maybe there was a breakup and the kids were taken away from you and you were never allowed to see them. You fought as hard as you could, right? And then all of a sudden, years later, you get a phone call from your kids and they say, hey, mom or dad, I'm down the street. Can I come visit? And what are you going to say? Of course, you're going to say yes, right? You're all excited. And they pull up in front of your house and you have this joyful reunion. And then what the guy said was, did you notice the vehicle they came in? Did you care if it was an old jalopy or if it was this highfalutin, sports car? And his whole point of the story is any vehicle that brings you closer to, whether it's, you kind of call it God, source, whatever, a higher power, right? Any vehicle that can get you there. And it was so interesting to hear that perspective. And I thought about that rather than myself saying some people need it. Well, maybe that's their vehicle in the way to connect to a higher power. I thought that was kind of
it's like the same thing, like people who join cults, and just because of the fact that being in a cult or being certain things gives them a sense of purpose maybe they didn't have, and maybe that's why they're clamoring on this.
I mean, that's people usually get caught when they're most vulnerable, when something like that.
Most vulnerable. Yeah. But anyway, that's all I had to say about that. But anyway, yeah, just some of those groups, I was just a little bit thrown off that it was supposed to be such a beautiful group, and there were some beautiful people in there, but there was way too.
Well, there are some good groups out there, like I said, because I think Howie had mentioned I learned so much from that case after mine. I think you were referring to Barbara. I could be wrong. Oh, hello. That's not a ghost cat.
I've seen a cat tail go.
No, that's a hi, Andrea. Orlando. Nice. Welcome to see you here too. Or welcome, I should say. I'm still sick, you guys. I'm trying to get my mouth to work with this head coldy thing. But Barbara's group, it's called IANDS. It's called International Association for Near Death. I forget what the S stands for, but they're all over the United States and the world. They're mainly, like, she started one in Santa Barbara, I think, where she is, and they have education and they have speakers and they have support. So I'll try to remember to send you a link.
Yeah, I'll do that. I was a network from Australia reached out to me and wanted to know if I would do a interview on one of their shows in Australia. And it's like a 10 and up, but I finally will let you guys know. I did write them back and I said, sure. But they gave me some clips of their thing. And it's like, one of our short television programs or radio news where they have segments and stuff. And it's like a 10-minute segment, and they wanted to talk to me about the afterlife. I just let them know. I'm like, I don't know what I can fit in 10 minutes unless you just want the highlighted version. But yeah, I'll do it anyway. I'm waiting to see, because when I told my near-death story to like the people in England, they interpreted it different and wrote it out differently than what I said, because they kind of clambered onto a certain part and made the article about that. And I was so angry at first. But you know what I found? Tons of people are calling, getting hold of me going, I listened to that interview. They were it actually worked for that culture, because he had written there that
power of the media, right? When we do.
It is.
When people reach out, like there's a Canadian, he calls himself an expat in South Korea. and I have no idea how he found me. But right, with the power of and I've been on his show a few times and whatever. He's always bugging me to come back on, and the time difference is a little bit different. But like I say, people find you. That's the beauty of this. Like, we have no idea who's listening to this or who will hear.
We have no clue. I'm always excited because this is different for us because we are Gen X, and we look like we're Gen Z though, don't we? But we're Gen X. Yeah, we're Gen X, and we grew up before all this. So we didn't have, when we were younger, and I'm not telling you old man stories, but we didn't have, if me and Lorilei would never have met back then without an internet, because she lives thousands and thousands of miles away from me. And we didn't have, I think the first thing was MySpace.
I had a MySpace. I still do.
I have a MySpace, but I got in late. I was still doing dial-up where you heard that, and all that telephone stuff in the background. I was like, oh, I hated it. I kept telling people, I will never use a computer. I will never do it. I will kick and scream into the year. And here I am all over the world.
I was so excited. I never even turned on a computer till Justin was a baby, I think. And then I was just addicted. I love tech. But we got to talk about ghosty things here. With Dave and I, this is what happens with Dave and I, whether we're on here or off, and then we go all around the bend and back again. We do this.
Let's talk about scary stuff. Scary, spooky.
Scary. I did do some stuff today. And I know you were doing some, because I was looking for... Oh, I'd love to put this. I don't know if I can show you guys this video or not. I don't think this is real at all. But the thing is, I'm wondering, I think what happened is somebody must have spliced something into this video, because this kid is for real. It's not very long.
Go ahead, play away. So, by the way, you guys, what we're going to talk about is what we talked about last week. We're going to talk about haunted dolls, haunted items, psychometry,
stuff like that. I'm going to send it to Messenger. It is on Messenger. I already did it. Yes.
Anything like that, you guys, or anything you guys want to talk about who are live with us right now, go ahead and
David, guess what I found out being on Jonathan? Jonathan was on my show, and he had from JK47 Paranormal on Monday night, and he had a bunch of EVPs to play, and I'd forgotten all about this. You can play files from your computer on here to share them. Did you know that?
I can't. No.
You can, yeah. So I'll have to it's not hard to do.
I can do it as a guest.
Well, you're not a guest, you're a host. So you could still do it. Okay, why are you not coming up?
I think we froze a little bit.
Did I freeze?
We did freeze a little bit. There we go.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, I'm on Facebook. It shouldn't be a problem.
Are you frozen, Lorilei? There we go.
I'm trying to get the Facebook thing. I wonder if it showed up. And hang on. Oh, she's got something interesting here to share. No, I'm trying to just upload that video I was talking about. So if I disappear, I'm still here. It doesn't usually black me out, but I'm going to share Andrea's comment if you want to read it, Dave, while I do that.
Yes, and it's odd that you said that, because it says right before you popped up that comment, I turned on my little fan, because I don't know why. I was a little warm or something. I turned on the fan, and Andrea's comment says, last night the room fan turned on by itself. It happened when I was tucking in my 3-year-old. I was saying I love you, and it turned off when I started texting my cousin. So are you wondering if it was almost the same fan? Isn't that weird? That, my friends, is what we call synchronicities.
Mm-hmm. Almost the same fan, Andrea said.
Yeah, that's why I picked it up. Yeah, the fan that I just picked up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, what do you want to know, if it was somebody? Because we can both feel into it real quick.
Mm-hmm. She said it was crazy. I don't think it was crazy. I think it was, I keep feeling male energy. What do you feel, Dave?
Yeah, I do actually. It felt like a very, it felt very fatherly, but I don't know if it was a father, but it felt like, when you said it, the first pounce that got to me was that it was a protective energy, and it was male.
Yeah, that's what I feel too. Sorry, I'm trying to set this up, guys, with this video. It's not very
Oh, my
long.
biological fathers. Okay, your father's over there. It could have been. I can't honestly tell you for sure because
I feel
we're not
that.
here.
I felt like a father. Hi, Kim Lawful Holt. She says, hello, David and Lorilei.
Hi,
Yeah, it
Kim.
almost male to me. You're almost like a paternal or grandfatherly, almost like.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said it felt fatherly, and she put down my
I
bio
didn't
father.
hear you. I'm sorry. I was too busy setting this
That's
up.
okay.
Oh, she says he was Native American. Interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. It could have been. You know what? This is what I tell people. And this is, I know this sounds, some people might not like this, but I'm going to say this. If something strange happens in your house or something like that happens and you feel it's a spirit, a positive spirit of someone that you know, most likely it was. That's how
And
I
the
put it.
first person that comes to mind, and then you think, no, that's just wishful thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
No, trust yourself, because I'm telling you, like, I just went with what I felt with right away. And sometimes we'll pick up, like, sometimes, like, David's an amazing medium, and I do mediumship as well, but David kicks butt with it. And what I find is that sometimes we can pick up on certain energies and sometimes we can't. And that's okay. We usually can. So Andrea says, or my surgeon donor grandfather. I kind of felt more like grandfatherly.
See, it's fatherly. It's fatherly or grandfatherly, but the word father is in there. So and they don't, I have to say that usually when we get stuff, we've trained ourselves to really listen and to really feel it. And usually if we feel it like that, most times we have to go with that it's right. Because what happens, most people, when you guys get stuff, don't let your left brain talk you out of your experience. If it was a nice experience or it helped you or assisted you or some way or brought you something that you needed, then don't try to push it off. Why would we try to
Whoever
sabotage
comes to mind first, like when you heard that I love you, and before you even thought, somebody will come to mind. They always do. That's more likely who it is. And then I'm going to read. We got questions. We got all kinds.
Jennifer, or go ahead.
Jennifer Frost Casista, the controls in my radio in my vehicle stopped working for a few days ago. I felt like it was my brother playing around with me.
And maybe it was. I'm going to tell you about that just to help you out on that. My brother, my older brother who passed away after I came back, in my car, I'll be thinking about him or something, and all of a sudden, certain songs will play on right away, or I can smell smoke. When I think about him, sometimes you can walk into my house and other people can smell cigarettes, and I don't smoke. And it's funny. I will sit there and go, Kevin, you son of a bee, stop it. I can just smell it. And we laugh. But my brother will play songs on the radio for me all the time. He'll play like Alice Cooper or one song, which is really odd. And I didn't even know this song was going to come about. I was thinking about my brother and everything. And then I started to do this meditation. And in the background, the song Sailing came on by Christopher Cross. And I kept, and the funny thing that it's funny that song came on because a lot of visions I've had about my brother or dreams, he's standing on the edge of a seashore and he's wearing all white, like a white shirt and white pants, and his hair's long like he liked it, and he looks really good, and the wind's blowing his hair, and he's always got a huge smile on his face. And that song Sailing would play. And Sailing was, I heard that song when I was 14, and I loved that song, and my brother loved the ocean. So whenever he'll do that every once in a while and bring that on.
Oh, that's so cool. We've got lots of comments here. So Howie has a question. I already know the answer to this. I know Dave's going to say, question, should we have concern for tomorrow? Nope. I'm going to share something I share often I got from Spirit years ago, and it's this. What we perceive becomes what we believe, and it becomes our reality. So where we focus our attention, we are that powerful. That's why the law of attraction works. I hate to tell you, but it's true. I don't hate to tell you.
Howie, I will say, if you go ahead and tie an anvil to your legs, we'll keep you down here with us.
Well, no, that's not. There's all kinds of, believe me, I've heard them all about the 23rd because the Simpsons have had it. The Big Bang Theory has had it. It's been everywhere. You're worried about the 22nd. I've heard September 23rd. We've got to be beware, the rapture, the aliens are coming, hell's coming on Earth. I mean, it depends where you put your focus.
Yeah.
And to me, those dates have come and gone many, many, many times because my son gets scared. My son is 25, but he's very much like a 5 to 7-year-old with autism. I talked about him at the beginning of the show. Anyways, he just asked me before the show started, and I've told him he can always ask me. He goes, Mom, I was reading fan fiction and they said, what they say, the end is near. And he's so terrified the world's going to end. And I have to keep telling him, do you think I would be getting ready to go live for my show if the world was ending? It's not going to end. And then I've told him this before because it makes him feel safe, because he can read, but he can't quite understand everything. Is I tell him that NASA will protect us. He needs that. And then I tell him, because he's worried about aliens and everything. And then I tell him we have the Van Allen belt around the world. And then he'll look it up and it makes him feel safe. But he still asks me.
Yeah. For my alien lovers and my alien people watching this thing, I can tell you this: there'll be no rapture, just because of the fact, they've said it over and over and over throughout history. And the fact that there won't be an end of the world because they're not going to let the world end. But I will say this, which is odd, and Lorilei knows this too. We live dimensionally right next to each other. So somebody could very well be in the same world you are, believe very, very strongly in something, and enter into that world. The next thing you know, you'll just hardly see them anymore. They'll fall away or something like that.
I have a little secret for y'all too, and you may not believe it, but I know David's going to back me up this 100%. Guess what? You live forever.
Yeah,
this is just a rental car you're driving right now, having a human experience. I promise you. And when it's my turn to go back home, we can look for each other, whoever's hearing this, and I'm getting goosebumps now, and it's not cold. That's my sign for truth. We'll meet each other back home, okay? And you can tell me, hey, and I don't need to be right, but I know this as sure as I know that my hair goes halfway down my back. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to be up with the people you love that you miss, and it'll be, oh, you're finally home. They celebrate when you come home, okay? And I call heaven home, whatever your belief is. And there's going to be people who are going to tell me I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I guarantee you, anybody listening that hears this that doesn't believe me, you meet me back up there, because we can find each other, and you tell me what you think.
Yeah. And if you're a ghosty type person and that's your big deal, and that's the thing that you love here the most, all that stuff, you'll just go play in the astral realm. That's where it all is.
Yeah.
That's where I find most of it is. Like when I tell people,
we got tons of comments. We did this last week, but I said to Dave, and we always go where all you want to go. We do.
Yeah.
So Howie, I saw your comment. The reason why Howie asked this is because it was for other people, because Howie's hearing it too. I'm sure most of us in this field hear this, and people are afraid. And you know what? I guess that's what I'm trying to tell you. And it's really easy to say when you're going through a tough time, there's nothing to fear. But all we have is the words now. Yeah. That's already in the past. You can't change that.
No.
Can't change what's coming tomorrow.
I've been telling people, in the past is literally just a story that you tell yourself. And you can't, you're not going to relive it unless you really want to.
And I know that that's true for people listening to this, because I'm getting goosebumps. I don't know why I get goosebumps. Well, we all do in this field when we're doing it. It's one of our signs that it's truthful, okay? I'm going to be having some party with a bunch of you I never met on the earth here that hear this. When we're all back home, years from now, centuries from now, whatever it is, okay? We'll find each other and we can have a little chat about this. And you'll say, I thought you were crazy listening to me on the internet. Okay. And I welcome it. I wait for it.
Yeah. No kidding. Oh, Howie said, hey, I have a new theory on spirits. The reason we do not see some spirits is because they're moving too fast. That's true. And you know what? I've said this before. Okay. Let's say me, Lorilei, and some dude off the street would go into this house that's haunted and say, Lorilei knows the background, I don't know the background, and the other guy knows the background. When we go in there, we may all see something differently or not see something. So like Lorilei and I most likely will see something, and we'll most likely interpret it the same way. But that other person who doesn't do what we do, if he has zero belief in it, he most likely won't see anything or grasp onto it. But if he has a big belief in it, he may see everything, even if Lorilei and I don't.
I have a theory too. No, Dave, you tell me what you think, but I find spirits that are very, very young, because I don't know what it is, but I don't know if their energy is more pure, that they're faster. Their energy is faster. I don't know if it's just me. I know my eldest son finds that too, especially when it comes to the animal world, connecting. Just, it's not that you can't see them or you can't feel them. They just seem to speak faster and vibrate faster. Yeah. I don't know, but that's what I find.
Oh, no, there are some like that too. I have some spirits that I talk to even during readings. Some they put how they work with me in short. Sometimes they take all my thoughts go away. They replace my thoughts with their thoughts. Sometimes I have so much in there. I'm like, blah, 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 and I can't stop talking.
Yeah, it's like, you got to slow down. Slow down.
Yeah, it's like, no more. Just like a word or two at a time, please, unless you're going to just jump in.
People. So we got Kathy, Hen Little. There was somebody else in here popped in. So let me say who they were. Pricey Womble. We got Pricey Womble. Let's see who else we got here. Let's see. Did I miss someone else? I think we said hi to Linda Nelson. I think we did. So just let me go through this. We got all kinds. Okay. Oh, Howie, I saw that. He said I think my TARDIS is humming.
Is that your car? No, what is that? Oh, TARDIS.
I don't watch that series, but the TARDIS.
I just got a brand new Ford TARDIS. It's humming.
I think it's such a long-standing series.
You know, I tell people I don't know everything, but you know, if there's any comfort in anything that's going on, me, myself, nobody else will know everything when you go back.
Oh, we got.
But until then, if you're inquisitive, go ahead, because it does boost your spirituality. It does expand your soul when you go down the rabbit hole. It's good for you.
I forget who I was saying this to today. I forget, but I was talking about. Oh, I know who it was now. But we were talking about some of these more negative things, like what Howie had asked. You know, what's the energy going to be like tomorrow or Saturday? And again, this is no judgment on anybody. I say it's not my job to judge. But those of us, especially when you work in this kind of spiritual world, right, you try to keep your energy or your vibration high, not buy into the news and lower vibrational type things. But I also believe if somebody is able to and they're open to, sometimes it's a really good idea to take a look at the whole big picture, because then you really know what feels right, what resonates with you, and you can kind of stay in that arena, like with the higher vibrational type of stuff, because it's almost like only knowing hatred. That's all you ever knew was hatred, right? Yeah. How are you going to know what love is unless you experience love?
Yeah, we live in a polarized realm.
But it helps us know the difference and know how to discern from it, or like a question like Howie's, right? So educating yourself on some of the lore or beliefs or fears out there, not spending a lot of time there, but being cognizant of it or recognizing what's going on, and then feeling into it from a higher vibrational state and knowing what feels right and what difference. And again, maybe that's just my belief, but I find that we can end up doing ourselves a bigger favor. And I don't mean just dwelling in the negative, but it's still, I think, a good idea to sort of keep it in the periphery to have an idea. So that's just my thought.
No, we have to know the differences. Somebody had mentioned something about the world. Wait, where is so we can talk about that, because that's been the big news over here. And
is this Mish? Was this one? Is that the one? Did I freeze, or did David freeze? Oh crap! Let me see if I turn off my video.
Oh, there we go. I
don't know what's going. Oh, we are getting cloudy. Sorry, guys. If it's probably
that's
me,
okay,
because I have stuff open to share. Let me close some stuff.
So Mish says, I guess each time we hear the world has ended, maybe one day they will be right.
Was that the one, Dave? Was that the one you were looking for?
Yeah, that was the one.
Okay, sorry.
This is my way of thinking. There has been many extinctions, and there have been future extinctions, because everybody thinks that the future hasn't happened, but the future is happening at the same time this is. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down.
Show.
That's a whole show. That's like 6-7 shows. But there have been extinctions because a lot of like even extraterrestrials that could be coming here, not through space, but through portals. A lot of them, they say, are our future selves, because human doesn't always stay. Just like human never always was. We developed human. The human was developed. So in like dinosaurs still exist, even though they're not here. So they went extinct on this world, but they still exist on another world. And who knows? There maybe is a rapture for some people because that's what they needed or wanted, or that's what was happening to them. I don't know. I can't see that.
Well, there's oh, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I was going to say I can't see that because that is something, a rapture wouldn't be anything that would teach anybody anything.
Well, somebody might need it.
Yeah, I don't know. Who would need it? If you needed to see people suffer here while you floated away and turned back at yourself and said, ha ha, you should have listened to me. I don't know how that could help
people out there that may want to experience that. But what I was going to add to you at the beginning of your comment is that I have interviewed Frank Jacob. He's been on the Inspired channel quite a bit. Not put that interview out yet because I gotta be real careful with some of the stuff that was said in it. But the reason I mention it is he has a docuseries out called A Tale of Two Timelines, and he actually looks into the grays. One of them, type of them, he calls the J rods, and I forget what the other ones are called. And ones from one time period that are positive versus the ones that are older are negative, and they are human beings from the future coming back to try and prevent us from making the mistakes that led to who they are in the future. So I don't know. I always say, and I know you say it too, Dave, we're not going to know all the answers till we go back home ourselves. And as for the world ending, okay, here on Earth, there's always a beginning and there's always an ending. But the cool part is we don't end. And for people that, and I can't tell you what to believe or what to focus on, but you could focus on worrying about the world ending tomorrow, Saturday. You could worry about it a month from now, a year from now. And I'm not trying to be facetious or put fear in people, but you could walk out off the street corner tomorrow and get hit by a bus.
Yeah,
right? It's time to go. It's time to go, but you do not end. I guarantee you do not end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your body.
Kathy Hanley Little here. So, Kathy, that's beautifully said. The world will not end. It will be a different dimension for some of us. That's absolutely, that's the easiest way to say it. That's a very good. Mish says, I guess our world does end when we cross over. The world doesn't end. And then, in fact, you know, it's really weird.
School. This is Earth school, if you will. Right?
Yeah. It's there's no way easy for me to explain this, but just so you can understand and you can think of it that way, that's an okay way to think about it. But I'm going to give you a little something else to think about, Mish. When we leave here, we don't leave here. Like when I had my near-death experience, I did not leave here. I literally, my focus was on another dimension or another world.
Your consciousness, your astral body, if you will, even actually it's kind of, well, it's not your whole soul, because then we get into the silver cord, and I mean, we could do all kinds.
We go all over, but I think to put it all into perspective, I personally believe that we will be okay, and that the world is ever evolving, ever changing. We're learning new stuff. Some people are being bad. Some people are being good. I don't know if we're ever going to get to perfect peace. We may one day, and I think it does happen in some point in the timeline. But right now, all we can really do is just be here and be really cool and just enjoy the hell out of your experience, whether it's with seeing spooky things or not seeing spooky things, or being religious or not being religious. It doesn't matter. Just do your thing. Let everybody else do theirs.
we're all here on our own journey. And as I've heard many people explain it, my near-death experience happened as a toddler. So I just get flashes of this and that. And I kind of recognize stuff as people talk about it. But I've heard so many people explain it that what they realized when they look back and they were in their near-death experience, they go, oh my gosh, it was just like a big play. My life was a play. I saw the players coming in and those that had finished. And I think what they were trying to say, though, is we're all here. There's a purpose to you being here. Nobody's here by accident. You chose to come here. I know a lot of people will say, no, I didn't. And that's okay if that's how you want to resonate with it. But we did. And we're going to have many more incarnations as well. Like
and it doesn't have to be here. It can be, there's all
you
kinds
go
of
in the
things.
past, because I keep thinking I keep saying I don't ever want to go back to like the 1700s and be a woman in childbirth or something. But I have to. I'm not my whole self is the way I try and explain it to people. We're in a human existence, but who you are as a full soul, you're still you, but you're a lot. You see the big picture. You can be anywhere you want to be. You can it's just mind-blowing the things you can do, and we've never been taught that as a human being. I think there's a lot more we can do as human beings that we've never been led to believe that we can do, but we can. I really do. Our minds are powerful.
Yeah, and we're just letting everything go as it goes. I don't know if there's some sort of linear thing that we are following, because some linear time on the other side, as I had found out, is like spirits. When we talk to them, they're coming into our linear time, so they're experienced linear. You could experience linear time on the other side if you so chose to, and some still use it for certain things. Yeah, and some still use it for certain things. So I guess so. Bye, Mish. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mish. It's daytime over there. It's Friday already, so she's probably heading off to work. We appreciate when you pop in.
Oh, my goodness.
So Howie says, yes, past or future and Beetlejuice will affect direction as well. Is that what he's saying, Beetlejuice?
Yeah, there's a new solar flares that are going off. There's really huge solar flares and everything. And Beetlejuice's closest planet. And it's funny that we're now having a remake of Beetlejuice and all the plays are coming out and the new Beetlejuice is coming out in September. So it's all funny and people are going to come up with all kinds of really fun conspiracy things on that. But it is kind of funny though.
You know what I don't like, okay, and it's just me, is when you've got classics that we've had. You and I are almost the same age growing up. Can we not just let the classics be? Why do we have to keep remaking them? Yeah. Like, there's nothing wrong. Go with the same series. Just make some new characters and throw.
They're not making. Oh, they are in the new Beetlejuice. They are.
But I'm thinking about back to James Bond, to Ghostbusters, to I mean Charlie's Angels. To you could go back and back and back. And yes, it was a classic and there's nothing wrong with it. I can't complain about Charlie's Angels because they didn't model the characters in the newer film versus the old one. It was different. But why not come up with something new? I don't know.
Well, I think some people watch that old stuff and go, what would it be like if this was happening in this year? And I'm like, oh, I get it. But like
I think you want to build off the familiarity and the franchise name personally.
Yeah, pretty much. I do too.
Okay, so Kim asked a question. She asked a question. You want to read it?
Are hummingbirds and feathers from loved ones and angels? Yes. There can be all kinds of stuff. It doesn't have to be that. Yeah. It can just be signs. It can just be feelings. It can be license plates. It can be bugs. It can be whatever their favorite song was, perfume, cigarette pipes. Yeah.
So that's something else I'm going to add quickly. I actually posted a picture of her today on my Facebook page. My Emmy, who I have now, she was in the picture earlier. She's big sucky. She's a German Shepherd, so she's huge. But she's this little peanut on a leash. I think it was the first night we took her for a walk, and my dog is now departed that was with her, Miley. And Miley was a Chorky, a big Chorky, but she's bigger than Emmy as a puppy, and I'm walking them. So Miley, who I had when I had her as a puppy, and I used to have rugs in my old house, she did a pee-pee accident, and it is the shape of a perfect heart.
I saw it. You gave that. You showed that to me.
I have. Yes,
Yeah.
I've had people tell me it's not. There's no way a puppy did that. I said they did. And for some reason, I just connected that was kind of it was a sign of love. I know maybe people wouldn't look at that way, but I did. So the more I started to notice the hearts, the more they would appear, whether it was a spill on the counter from coffee. I remember we got a box of chicken nuggets from a pizza place, and I have a picture of it. It's a perfect heart, one of them that was in there. I don't know how it happened. So I have an album of them that I save. And for me, I've decided and kind of worked this out with my guides that they send me these randomly in random spaces. When I notice them, just let me know, yep, you're on the right track. Keep doing what you're doing, or what have you, kind of as encouragement. Mm-hmm.
I think we all have to. I think society in general, I think, needs to stop being so cynical.
No, but that's what I was going to say, Dave. So if you're getting feathers that come out of nowhere, dimes and nickels and pennies are huge. So you can ask, though, from your loved one, if you want something that you know it's them, but you got to be open to interpretation. Like if you say, I want to see a mermaid, and I'll know it's you. You might see it on a sticker, on a sign, a coffee cup. Maybe you'll hear a song about mermaids. Maybe a movie will come on. But if you're open to it, your loved ones and your guides will send you that, angels. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I tell a story about looking for butterflies one day that I was asked to be sent to me. I didn't see them all day long. I was ready to give up until I got off work and got my mail, and all the stamps were butterfly stamps.
Yeah, I remember you told me that. Yeah. Like I said, we planned for spooky stuff. I'm going to show this video right now. It's only 5 seconds, and I think that somebody must have spliced this in here. Now watch up on the ceiling. Okay, I don't know if I can play it from here. Can I? I could do it with his video, but I couldn't. So if I disappear, just hang on. I'm going to play it. Okay. It's not very long. There's not really any music, so I guess I could play the music. Hang on. Yeah. I'll play it again. Did you see that? This kid, I guess, from what I've been talking about, they were talking. This was off a Noob's Top 5 Instagram. Here, I'll come back till I play it again. And from what I understand, the way it was posted, this kid was talking about a bad dream, and they took a clip of this. And you can tell by this kid's face, he's not faking it. But what the heck is that on the ceiling? I'm calling fake. Somebody spliced it in, but I don't have the full video. I don't know if he's putting it on his top 5, but let's see what y'all think. I'll play it one more time. So watch the ceiling. It's quick. Oh, hang on. It was my fault. I didn't have it up high enough. Did that help for you to see it?
I saw it. I'm also calling fake on it. It was
I called fake. That's why I wanted to play it. I wanted to ask you all, what do you think?
Here's why I would come to the conclusion that that's fake. Here's why. So it is a man. It is something crawling backwards on the ceiling, and it jumps down towards him. Honestly, if that happened and it jumped down
forward and then it came down.
It came down by him. Yeah.
Okay, Carrie Lynn. I got to give Carrie Lynn a shout out. She's one of our fellow hosts on the network with Spirit Switchboard tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys got to check her out. She's amazing. She has amazing guests, super gifted medium, spiritual teacher. You got to check out her group on Facebook.
She jumped right on and said the same thing. Fake, busted.
Well, wait, I'm still calling her out, Dave. Hang on. I want to tell people, check her group out. You want to work on your intuition. You want to learn how to better connect with those type of things. She posts all kinds of things in her group. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, no. Yes, please. She knew too. I stuff like that. You got to think somebody's got videos and stuff, but you don't hear anything else on it. Now the kid though, it's kind of sad.
It is real.
That part's
somebody
real.
Posted, like they spliced it into the video, because there's no way you're gonna see it like that.
Yeah, somebody took a perfectly sweet video, probably, but they're probably trying to tell.
Oh, I don't think that was sweet. I think that kid was really upset. He looked
no. I mean, it could have been sweet, as if somebody had a video of a kid saying he had bad dreams, and maybe they were going to tell him in the rest of the video that things are okay or something like that. But somebody spliced in the scary thing to make it more dramatic. but
did a
I
good
don't.
job. Because check it
Yeah.
out if you go to Nuke's Top 5. I don't usually go on Instagram, but I was looking for spooky short clips of haunted items, and that happened to come up in my feed, and I thought, okay, I'll check it out, see what it's about. And I went, oh, this is so fake. And I thought, I'll pull this one up tonight. We'll see what everybody's got to say about it.
I had one. Where did you get that one from?
Nuke's Top 5 on Instagram. Carrie Lynn, I got to tell you, I've been sick, so I haven't had a chance to send you a message. I made tiny little skulls for you in a bunch of different colors and other people because I do resin work. And Carrie Lynn had 2 molds that she hadn't used, and she was so sweet to send them. And she sent me, it's a planchette mold, but it's so cute. I'll have to send you pictures, but I wanted to let you know I've been playing with them when I've been trying to feel a little bit better, but I got some things made.
If I could, I wish I could show you guys Angel right now.
Oh no, that's our
he was play fighting with Pom-Pom on the bed in front of me, and they stopped, and Angel looked up, and he still had his play mean face on, and he looked like a little dragon. Yeah.
Well, like I said, my co-host, I don't think anybody's noticed, he's our co-host. This is Murray Pete in the background. His name, we called him Murray, but then my youngest named him Pete, so I'll have to change his sign next week.
Pete, how about Murray Peterson?
Oh, I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. Then you got it all there. Well, welcome, Murray. Don't give me that evil eye, kitty.
Don't look at him. He'll come over. Yeah, Angel's so sweet. I call Angel our third host of the night because he's so sweet. He pops in.
And I call Angel, when Angel gets angry, I call him Angelo.
And I've heard you call him Angelo. Yes, I have.
Angelo, you stop it. You're not being an angel right now.
That's what the cat that you guys just saw, and she loves my crystal and the cord. That's why she came up to me. My son named her Stevie, and Stevie after RuPaul's Drag Race, my eldest. He does part-time drag, and he loves that show. And it was from a diva show. Now, I've never considered Stevie Nicks a diva, but I guess somebody did that. So he named her that. But when she's being naughty, and she does answer to it and look. Apparently, her full name is Stephen Nicole. Don't ask me if that's what she gets called. Okay, so what kind of spooky things did you find? I found a bunch of stuff here. I should send it probably to some of the stuff I sent to Messenger. But what were you? Because I found there's a really creepy doll I found that was actually in the Warrens Museum, and it's not Annabelle. And this one. This is the one I want to share. This one's long. This was from TikTok. Oh my gosh, this was creepy. I'm still calling fake watching this thing. There is no way that this happened in real life. This was this haunted doll I'm just waiting for it to send through to Messenger. This haunted doll that somebody bought, I think, off of eBay. And she said that she never even brought it in the house. And it was sold with this appearing fang that appears and then disappears and stuff. So I watched this thing. I don't know what's inside that doll because that mouth looks like the black abyss. But this thing I'm gonna play it, but
good.
True. But I'm kind of prefacing it. But this thing looks like it's growing a fang and then it pops back up in and stuff. Somebody had to. There's no way that this would happen in real life. I don't think so. So this was a haunted doll. So what about you, Dave, while I'm uploading? Have you got anything?
While you're uploading, I looked up a few things like Robert the doll, which is, I was looking up like famous ones. Okay. Robert the doll, Annabelle, the Dybbuk box, and we talked about that.
The Dybbuk, the Dybbuk box.
The Dybbuk box, yeah. And I had some extra stuff on there. Robert the doll, you guys.
Is that Bunny's doll, Robert the doll?
Let me see. Let me read this. I said I did some research. This is a handmade doll that was given to a boy named Robert Eugene Otto in Key West, Florida.
Oh, that's Robert. Okay, yeah, I know it.
Yeah, in the early 20th century. The boy often blamed mishaps on the doll, and neighbors claimed to see the doll move from window to window when the family was out. Today, the doll is on display in a museum in Key West, and visitors often leave notes asking the doll's forgiveness to disrespect to avoid a curse. Gosh, there's so much to unpack on that one. I will not doubt that a doll could not move from window to window, or people could see that, because I can't tell everybody what they can and cannot see. The unfortunate thing I find in it is that people are leaving notes to avoid a curse. That's feeding into that more and more. There's nothing. I looked up some things to see. Has anybody blamed Robert the Doll on any curses that are out there? I could not find one.
This was the one from the Warrens. It was called the Shadow Doll. It's got
The Shadow Doll. I kind of heard a little bit about that.
So
dolls can be creepy. I don't know if they can do all the stuff people say they do, but I will tell you, I thought about this, and after my research, I can't get on board with the fact that a spirit is taking over the body of the doll. I mean, I don't know, but I can't get on board with that one. But I can get on board with the doll has an energy or an attachment to it that could be doing that. So a spirit, so I guess in my instance, if there was a spirit, let's say, that is hell-bent on staying between the worlds and just being kind of naughty or whatever it might to do, what better way to get noticed than to attach yourself to a doll or something like that and just move it a little bit? Because if it actually could get into the doll, an actual spirit, the doll would just get up and walk around. But I think dolls could be moved by a spirit. I would think so. Friendly and unfriendly.
Oh yeah, we've heard about it. I'm trying to find I did have a Dybbuk ball. Dybbuk box. That's the one we were talking about with what's his name now. Oh, I can't remember his name. You'll see when you see him. He was on Joe Rogan. He's complete. The guy with the tattoos under his eyes. What's his name? Oh, just skipped my head. You'll see who he is because it was pretty famous, and I watched that. It was a Halloween special. Hang on, I'm trying to see if I've sent all the ones through I wanted. I downloaded a bunch of them. So this one I want to see what it is. Oh, this is a haunted coin one too. So I didn't know what we were going to exactly get into tonight. If we were going to be
the Hope Diamond is another one. That's an object. The Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is supposedly haunted. The Hope Diamond. You never heard of the Hope Diamond?
I've heard of the Hope Diamond. I just didn't.
Here it's one of the most famous cursed items in history, so they say. And the Hope Diamond is a large blue diamond that was supposedly stolen from an idol in India, and a curse was placed on it. The diamond has had many owners over the century, and many of them, along with their families, have suffered misfortune, tragedy, and death. Today, the diamond is in the Smithsonian Institute, which is going just fine. That's why I don't understand, is the curse just meant for people? I mean, I'm not making fun of it. I'd like to understand how people see curses. Because if something was cursed, I think there's stuff in maybe Egypt and all that I probably wouldn't want in my house, whether I believed in a curse or not. Because some stuff I've looked at it and thought to myself, I'm not digging that energy. And I don't know if I'd want it in my house, but I don't know if that constitutes a curse. What do you think?
Well, let's put it this way. I think that curses can be real because I have run into people. I've seen cases.
They believe them.
They didn't. No. That's where I'm going with this. Didn't believe in that kind of stuff. Didn't believe in a curse. Didn't believe in the paranormal. And then they ended up with things that were, call it what you like. It's been labeled a curse. I can tell you for myself, when we were in the group that shall remain unnamed, I was working with a gentleman that was younger than me. And we met up at a retreat in person. And I realized this guy's into a lot of dark stuff that I didn't know about, really dark stuff. And I kind of tried to cut ties with him. It didn't end well. But when I came home, on my old network, I wasn't on video, but I broke my ankle on air. I had so many things go wrong in that span of time, probably about 15 things that were really rare, really strange. And I'm thinking, this guy put a curse on me or something? And then you know what I realized? Now, this is what I tell myself. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but I heard from Spirit, a curse is in the mind of the beholder.
Yeah.
All I did was I said, listen, whatever you've sent to me, return to sender. I refuse to accept. I refuse to engage. And I left it at that. Now, whether it was just a spate of bad things that ended up happening that week, I don't know, but it stopped because I refused to go there. I refused to believe it. Now, I know there are people, though, that didn't believe in any of this. They didn't want to believe in any of this. And some of the things that happened, could it have been life? Possibly, but some pretty bad things happened. So
we never know. I mean, I'm the same as you are, and I've been told by spirit many, many, many times that the curse is in the mind of the person being cursed. And that's, I know, and I've thought about this. If I had a client come to me and they didn't know they were cursed, but all these bad things were happening to them, but I was someone who thought in my head for a split second, I wonder if they're cursed.
Let me let this little girl out of here. She's going to.
Would I say anything? I don't think if I thought somebody was cursed, I probably would not tell them that. I would probably just try to fix it from where I was and never ever say anything, because I'm a strong believer, and especially when people come to see mediums and psychics and all that, because of the atmosphere, because of everything that happens, they tend to really latch on to what we say.
Yeah, no, I would never tell somebody something.
That's like me neither, because I could never do that either, even if I was. Now, if somebody came, I've had people come to me. I've literally had people want to pay this money. I had one client come to me and said she was coming to me because the last person told her that she was cursed, and they wanted her to do all these extra readings with him, and she couldn't afford it. So she asked me if I could help. I'm like, oh, honey, you're not even. Guess what? I didn't even accept her money. I just wrote her back and I said, you're not cursed. Everything's fine. You don't need a reading from anybody. And I said, write me back in a couple of weeks and let me know if everything's okay. She wrote me back in a couple of weeks. She said, everything's just fine. Thank you. And I was like, okay, there you go. That might be a different situation. I mean,
no. I've had somebody that contacted me with what they believe to be a Santeria curse, and they haven't gotten back to me, but they did have some pretty bad stuff happen. And I never take on something that's not my forte. And I just said, listen, I don't work with Santeria. I said, I can try and find someone for you, but my old co-host, my previous co-host, don't let her in, please. My son was going to let the cat back in. I said, don't let her in. And she was very well versed in dark things and collected haunted items and things. So it was kind of cool because she was coming more from, if you will, dark. Wasn't a dark person. She's a lovely person, but she was very knowledgeable in that. And I was more the light worker. So we kind of met in the middle, and it was nice because we could bounce things off of each other. That's who I did a lot of the paranormal stuff with and what have you. So I asked her about it. Now, he did have some pretty bad stuff, and he was getting scratches on him. He was getting all kinds of stuff. It was his fiance kept writing me. I didn't really find anybody. I gave him some suggestions, but I really didn't find anybody. Here, let's see what Kim says. She says she doesn't believe. I just wanted to put up Carrie Lynn's. She says she doesn't believe in curses, but Carrie Lynn, I like what she's adding.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Carrie Lynn. Absolutely.
It shifts the control power dynamics and can allow for manipulations. Ethics are so important. I think they're number one.
Ethics and ethics and what we do as readers and everything is absolutely number one. You can't just come at people. I've had to re-help so many people who's had terrible readings.
Or confidentiality is tantamount, and so is, well, that goes under ethics, though, right? Because
discernment, and you have to have discernment over, what you should say and what you can't.
Well, I was just going to say that. Remember that lady you talked about a few times when we first started the show, with that woman that had the cancer diagnosis? I'll let you tell the story. It's your story, so.
Oh yeah, I was a long time we were on. I was all over TikTok for a while, and which, by the way, real quickly, there was a guy doing a live, and he was just a psychic, whatever. And I'm curious, and I check out other psychics' websites because I want to see what their websites are like and everything. And I looked, and he was like, "We're giving $40 off a reading," and I thought, well, how much are you charging for a psychic reading? $125 for a 15-minute reading on the phone, $250 for $300 for psychic readings. Now, I will, you know what? I am not one to say anything bad, but it's like, I tell you, I don't know. There isn't, even if Jesus himself came down here and said, Dave, I'll give you a psychic reading, it'll be 125 for 15 minutes. I'm like, Jesus, I'll just wait for it to happen. Thanks. I'm not paying
But
that.
you know what I've looked at though, too, though, Dave, is what people charge. You will find the people will find you that
You will, but I just can't. I know that, but for a psychic reading I don't know. I guess, I just look at it differently. If I could, I would give readings for free, but I can't. I've got to charge for them because otherwise my kitties would go hungry. But it's more or less this person I'm talking about. I'm not relating this to every psychic I know, but I watched the lives. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're charging that much? Yeah. And there was very generally stuff and all this stuff. I don't know. I always said, even from a psychic,
it wouldn't be what I would charge. And we get people on the other end of the spectrum. Hello, Chris Binder. I remember you, friend Jonathan, being on Monday night. Thanks for being here. So, and like Kim says, just like elephants can't fly, but we meet people on the other end of the spectrum too that get very self-righteous about, I don't charge for readings, and that's okay.
Oh my God. Yeah.
No, but we do. So I think people that are out there find the people they're meant to work with. And
yeah,
again,
and if I guess somebody can afford that, that's fine.
And if they get, like, maybe that's I'm not trying to, would I charge that? No. But like I said, for whatever reason, they charge what they charge, and they must be getting enough people to do it, right? Is what I'm saying. So people that are meant to work with it, like we've heard of cases where people very sadly have been taken for all their money, hundreds and thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe people, I guess I can believe it, but it disgusts me. And whenever people do that, because I know some people said, I was going to check out your website, but I can't afford a reading. And then when they ask me what I charge, they're like, what, really? They're like, all the other mediums on TikTok are charging like $300 and $400 for a half hour and all that. I'm like, oh, well, if you want to go to them, that's fine. I'm sure they're just fine. Mm-hmm. But I know there's a lot of people that can't. The reason I keep mine low is because I want to work with the people that maybe can't afford certain things.
Right. So that's
why I do it. That's why I do it.
There are
now, if I worked for like Tyler Henry, I talked about Tyler Henry, that young kid who's a medium. I had a lot of respect for him when he said 80% of the readings that he does are free, but that's because he does it for normal people. But he also said, I'm very lucky that 20% of my clientele are extremely rich people in Hollywood.
That's where I was trying to go with.
And I'm like, I wish I could charge like that too. If you make like $300,000 a year, don't come to my website.
The people that will find somebody like that. Yeah. So the main thing is when I work with people and we try to, I find most of us don't feel guilty. Like you said, if we didn't have to charge, we wouldn't, but we have bills to pay, or if this is the way you feed your family or whatever it is. Right. But where I like to go with that, we should feel good about what we're doing. Okay. And feel good about it. So whatever feels good when you're doing the work that you're doing and the price that you're charging, you have to be okay with it. And for you've noticed what you've noticed, and so you're finding the people that are meant to work with you. And that's a beautiful thing, that you're making it affordable, because sometimes it's not. Like Chris is putting in the comments about things.
I don't think that's $150 to $200 an hour for a medium who's accurate. I do not think that that's too much, because it shouldn't be something you do all the time.
No, but the thing is, right, that's where I've made the peace with it. Maybe I'm not right, but I think we're meant to find people that are meant to work with us will find us.
Work with us. Yeah. And I guess we just charge what we charge, but I was just blown away when I saw that. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're like, oh, and we're booked up for, I'm like, who are you?
Yeah, but maybe for whatever reason, people that are meant to work with them,
and it's like, that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's okay, but I've watched so many too. I try not to criticize other people. Oh, but we were going to get to the medium I was talking about. Sorry, I got off track. So, and
do you remember when the lady with cancer?
Yeah, and Carrie Lynn, you probably didn't hear this story before, and you'll probably feel the same way. on a TikTok live with the medium. She was doing, well, she was supposedly mediumship readings, but a lady, apparently she had cancer, and she asked the medium, am I going to be okay, or am I going to beat this, whatever? And the medium said, no, honey, I'm sorry.
That's so
I just sat there. I'm like, wait, what? And I couldn't watch. I couldn't listen to any of that anymore. And I asked my guy.
It was important what Spirit shared with you about that.
Yeah, and I got off there, and I went to and I talked to my guides a lot, and I can hear them really well. And I asked them, I said, was that right or wrong to tell that woman that? And of course,
I agreed 100% with you with what you said.
But they said, here, you know, pretty much they said it like this. Here's the deal. You never take away hope from a human being because of the fact she did not have an expiration date on her. She did not have anything like that. This was literally something that was happening to her. It was a happening for her to learn something from. How, whether she gets through it or not was up in the air for her. And a psychic told her, you're not going to do it. They immediately did something to your psyche. If somebody tells you over and over that you suck, you're terrible, you're awful, you're going to die young, you're going to do this, most likely you're going to fall into that trap. So the fact that somebody took away hope from her made me so angry. Now, that psychic, happy to say, guess what? She was kicked off of TikTok. She was ridiculed so bad for that. She's gone.
Yeah, free will.
It is, and it's
no, and I agree with you. We never take hope away from anybody, whether you're a psychic or a medium, because I've had this conversation as a nurse, and you'll see on TV, we're going to pull the plug. That's not quite how it works when somebody's on a ventilator, and then you'll see somebody hanging on for like a month later, and like I thought it was like going to be like on TV, and it's not. And I had this conversation with a close friend a couple of years ago, and their uncle, they'd made the decision to take him off the ventilator, and he was still hanging on. And we had a long conversation about the fact that when we leave this earth, it's between you and whether you want to call it source, God, whatever your belief system is. Even if you don't, you get to make that choice. And for whatever reason, and I can't say with certainty, but I think he was waiting for a family member that was on their way to say their final goodbyes.
Yeah.
But it's not like the movie. So when somebody that has that type of authority, and you do have authority when somebody's coming to you for guidance from the other side, you take that hope away. And that is the worst thing you could ever do, because then the person starts to think, well, why am I even doing it? I mean, I'm not going to be here. For all you know, that poor woman might have thought, well, why bother going through treatment? I might as well just go spend all my money and spend the last couple months doing what I need to do, which is okay. But if it was survivable, but they were led astray, right?
Yeah, Christopher A.J.
I want to answer this if I'm okay with it.
You go ahead first. Yeah, you go ahead first. And then
okay, so he says, when you're not working and you have cancer, and I know David was going to see it too. I can tell you right now, Christopher, somebody came to me and told me they had cancer and they were really seeking out some guidance from Spirit, and they didn't have the money. I am not going to charge them. I do. Both of us do stuff for, I know Carrie Lynn does too, paranormal. We don't charge for it. No. And cases like this, if somebody is sick and they really feel they need something uplifting or some guidance from Spirit, and they came to me, I definitely would speak with them and work with them. Okay, it's not all about money. Go ahead, Dave.
But Christopher, and then you wrote up there, it's not a matter of hope, it's a matter of truth. I have to strongly disagree with you.
I disagree.
Just because something is true and you know it, it's like me and Lorilei will tell people. Somebody will ask about another person or ask when someone's going to pass away, and I will tell them straight out, I am not going into that other person's energy. Can I tell you these things? Most likely.
We say it all the time.
Yeah, but we're not going to, because it's not our business.
It's like breaking into houses. It's like breaking into houses.
When we tell somebody that they have a death sentence, we are interfering with their free will. We are better off saying, you got this, you can do this, try, be in the moment. You've got everything going for you and you're strong. Go do what you can do. I'd never tell them whether they were going or not.
Unless even if you know someone's gonna die, even as a nurse, it doesn't have to be a psychic. Just one sec, Dave. I didn't have to be a psychic.
There's no such thing as fate.
so I'm not going to tell. So don't get me wrong. If I was in a hospital,
Yeah.
because I did work in palliative care, and there are many physical signs that yes, death is coming. But I certainly didn't call a family member and say, "Get your butt over here. Your family member's going to die." It's just you may want to maybe drop by. I don't think it'll be long or whatever it may be. But these things need to be handled. But we don't have the right to tell any human being
No,
that.
we never have the right to tell somebody when
I
they're
love
going to
what
go.
Andrea shared. Then I'm going to share Carrie Lynn's. You want to read that, Dave?
Which one?
I got it up on the screen.
Oh, yeah. So many peer-reviewed studies prove that what you affirm will be. And that's absolutely true. You have to affirm what you want or it's not going to be. Only your soul knows your exact moment of death. I don't know the exact moment of death. There's no possible way for me to know the exact moment of death. I could tell you around when, but I can't tell you anything else because the soul can change its mind.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are confused about soul contracts and exit points, because an exit point doesn't always mean that
no, you can change it 100 times if you want.
Yeah, exactly. All exit points change as we go through here.
So I'm going to read this and I'm going to
Christopher,
I'm going to address him. I'm going to say something too,
Yeah,
Dave. Hang on, but I want to read this. This is a compliment for you. Carrie Lynn says, interesting, David, though you were pulled to observe that exchange so you can educate others after.
Thank you. Yeah, that's probably why.
Okay, so Christopher, and I know David's going to say something. I can't make you change your mind. Okay, if that is your belief, that is your belief. But what you've put here is, it is our fate. You cannot change it. That's right. That's your fate and your fate to decide as you as an individual. It is not up to me as another sovereign human being or soul to tell you, you have no hope. You will not be cured. So I don't have that right. None of us do.
Yeah,
and there's a difference. I can tell you as a nurse right now, I can tell you that the worst thing for me, I wasn't allowed to diagnose, and I'd see the biopsy report come back when I worked on the floor, and the person had cancer, and they'd ask me, is the biopsy report back? And I wouldn't lie to them. I'd say, yes. Well, what does it say? I'm so sorry. I'm not allowed to review a report with you. The doctor will be here shortly. Am I lying to them? No.
Nope.
But that's their fate. But that was not part of my job. But it is not our job as a human being to tell another human being, when you are in a position of power, and you are, when someone is paying you to come and get guidance from the other side, and tell them that you have no hope left, because that's what you're saying. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I wanted to read his next one. Mm-hmm. Christopher A. James says, God himself knows when the very end will be. That's okay. You can believe it like that. I'm going to tell you a couple of things who you're talking to, just so you know. I don't believe as God is a him or a himself or a herself or anything like that. It's all things. That's what I do. Now, you say God himself knows when the very end will be. Well, I died. So
God gives us a choice.
So apparently, yeah, I had a choice. Mm-hmm. I had a choice to stay or to come back. I was shown things that made me want to come back. So that's not true. We decide our death. God is not stripping us from our lives. There is no God going, because I say this to my mom all the time.
It's your turn now. Snap.
Yeah. Screw you three people in particular. Lightning strike, lightning strike, lightning strike. That just doesn't happen that way. It's the most ignorant thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's not ignorant. I don't want to say that in a mean way. You can believe whatever you want to believe. But we have been working with the paranormal and working with the other side, working with spirit. I've died, came back. I've been seeing ghosts since I was a kid. I tell you, you cannot change my mind on any of this. I'm a strong believer in God, universe, whatever you talk about it, because I've had religious people go to me, when you meet God, I'm like, oh, honey, I've already met God. And, and what I always tell people too, if you have to wait to meet God, you might be doing something wrong, because you were never away from God. You were never.
Hey, Kevin, see you, Sun Dragon. All I'm going to leave, and I'm going to leave it here because we could go on about this all night. And Christopher, you are totally entitled to your belief system, but I can tell you right now.
Yeah, you are, Christopher. Yeah.
David and we will never tell somebody that there's no hope or when they're going to die.
Yeah, that's what we're getting to.
Let me finish, Dave. If you choose to do this kind of job and you choose to do that, that is your path and your journey. That is not ours. And let's leave it at that. I know you may want a final word there, but Dave.
No, that's okay. You can believe whatever you want to believe, Christopher, but I'm just going to let you know you're on a thing called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. We are talking about metaphysical things, not religious things. So if you want to speak religion, you might want to go find a religious podcast to speak to. But you are free to listen. We don't care. We're not going to kick you out. But,
and we appreciate your point of view, and it gives us all food for thought. And I always say, all of us are not going to know all the
Christopher,
answers.
I do want to tell you one more thing. Just because I have to, just because I know what you're doing. I know exactly what you're doing.
Well, how about we just leave it at that? He said, "Love, David."
But it's a good thing. He said you have a relationship with Jesus Christ, our Savior, for well over almost 40 years. I think that's absolutely amazing, and I think that's absolutely beautiful. But you have to know this. Just because we do what we do, we know who those people are as well. I know, and I love them just as much.
Leave this. We're not going to talk about religion tonight. Everybody's entitled to their beliefs, and all are welcome. But let's just all appreciate one another and our belief systems. Okay, I always say not all of us know all the answers, and none of us will until we all go back home. Everybody's entitled to their beliefs. I'm glad you said that, Dave. I thought about going there. It doesn't mean because what we do doesn't mean that we don't have a belief in God or anything else.
We have very much a belief.
On to Andrea's comment here because she wanted to share her NDE. Do you want to read that, Dave?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I had an NDE also. I chose to stay so I could have my youngest son. I saw him with my grandmother Rose. It was such a fast decision from my higher self. I love that. Thank you.
That's cool. That's cool. I love when that happens because I think that when we have these NDEs, there is a choice we get. There is
and you hear people talk about this, and some of them are. And Carrie Lynn just said beautiful, and you know what we really got away from tonight, but this always happens. You know where we go. How many weeks have we planted our haunted dolls? Now, do you guys want me to play this? This is the one with the weird tooth that I want to hear, and I know what David's going to say already, but I want to. And so, okay. What was that, Dave?
No, I was going to say, I'm the skeptical guy who will probably have a good laugh or something.
I think, well, I want to know how they did this. So watch, this is the doll's mouth, and I'm going to blow it up so we might be able to see it better. So hang on.
Something unusual. Her lips appeared to be painted in blood. Her very detailed clothing appeared to be hand-stitched. But the most horrific thing about her was how her mouth would just draw you in. And she had one sharp fang that would shapeshift and move right before your eyes. I just did the oath. I tried to shine my light in the best I could. I was very shaky because it was dark and I was scared.
And her mouth was white.
And I tried not to show it.
That's how we've gotten all the other pictures. I'm trying to focus.
It keeps going out of focus, but watch it. And she's shaky.
Oh, shit.
No.
Okay, watch this tooth. She's going to get it in focus. She will. Well, you got to move up there, honey. Hang on. I might have to move it down. Hang on. There.
You're yelling at her.
Okay, watch this thing. Carrie Lynn says she's going to send pics of her haunted dolls. Right on. Go ahead. We'd love to see them.
Yeah, please.
Okay, watch this thing. And it'll change. It's going to change. And then it goes. Look at, now it went pointed. And look at how black that mouth is. She gets scared. She said she was scared. I'm going to have to move this so you guys can see it. I want to make sure it's in the middle of the screen. Oh
my God, it's creepy.
She's all over the place. So hang on. No, this thing keeps going and changing. Like what? This is weird. Come on, girl. Come on back to the teeth.
Oh,
she does.
Okay, there's scary. Yeah, there's the light.
She says she was really freaked out.
I don't know. So basically there's a...
Like, look at this thing, and it keeps going out of focus.
I don't know. I can't explain it.
I got to move it. Okay, now there. She's got it framed.
I'll show you what I see. with my own eyes. I don't know what's going on in there.
Oh, Jesus. Come on, girl. Put it in focus here.
The doll's got pretty eyes.
It says, I'm trying to get the camera in focus. Hang on.
It's just hard to tell you.
I know. Okay, there. Now it's a square. I can't get it
Oh my gosh. I can't. No, I'm done.
Don't let okay, sorry. I'm trying to multitask here.
This doll was so terrifying.
Hang on. What did you think of that? Like, that was freaky.
The tooth.
What did you think? Yeah.
I'm going to be honest and say, just by watching it, I can't debunk it, but there were some, you know what I'm saying? There's something off.
I know it was hard to see because she was shaky. Like when you watch the whole thing, okay, what happens is she says, I was super freaked out. And she collects haunted stuff. I was not looking for this girl. I was looking for stuff for tonight's show. And I'm going, what the heck? Like, look at how black that mouth was. And like, it kept going in and out of focus. Like, if you guys go, I'll try and find the name of her.
That's what gets me on some of these. What I like to look at is like when it was shot, but also the focus and out of focus thing. I know somebody just did another Bigfoot one that I was like, okay, oh, please.
Let me grab my glasses because I got her name for you. So Kim Lawful-Holt said, I love tonight's podcast. Chris Binder said, creepy crap. Carrie Lynn, we'd love to see your haunted dolls. Okay, she is called Jen as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, I, F as in Frank, EELIN as in Nancy, GS. So it's Jenny Feelings, all one word, on TikTok.
I will look into that one.
Okay, I can send you. I was going to send it to you today, Dave, but your old thing keeps coming up to send it to you. And when I look for you, use a tripod. The shaky shite is frustrating. I agree, because that's what Carrie Lynn said. She goes, I definitely want to see more. This is where we were supposed to go tonight, Chris. But you know what? We go where you guys want to go. So we start off with a topic. So are you going to
we will start out next week's show with this. I promise you. We'll do some more research. Carrie Lynn, we would love to see pictures of your dolls instead, because
we planned 3 weeks in a row on doing haunted items, and then because we usually just pick one topic, we have more, but we always want to go where the audience wants to go. So that's where we went tonight. We don't usually do as much spirituality as we did tonight, but that's obviously where the show was meant to go, right?
They wanted us to go. But yeah, we talked last week a little bit. We touched about it, and Carrie Lynn might know. I was obsessed with marionettes and puppets. And I was younger.
Right, yeah.
And I had I won't say that they were haunted, but the obsession that I had behind them was really odd. And I was thinking about this the other day. I think ventriloquists, that has got to be such a cool thing, because we
both wanted to do it when we talked about here. We both did.
We both had ventriloquist dolls. For me, a ventriloquist, what a beautiful way to take, because we are an expression of source or God, whatever you say. We are an expression of that, and the dolls are an expression of us. So it's almost like putting it down. So anything that David couldn't say, my doll could. And it would be
Jeff, what's his name? Jeff. My brain is
Dunham. Jeff Dunham.
He does that with his marionette, or not his marionettes. His what does he call them? Not dolls. Does he call them puppets? I forget what he calls them, but.
Oh, Z Sun Dragon said oddly shaped for a tooth, but that is freaky indeed. It's freaky if it's real. I can't make that judgment. I'm not going to. Some stuff is like obvious fake.
It was hard to see on the screen here. So if you guys remind me, those of you that know me, message me on Messenger and I'll send you the full video. You can look at it yourself. I had a whole bunch saved. So like I have one that's really freaky with a haunted coin, and there was about 4 of them that I saved. The first one I showed, that was dumb, but I wanted to see what you guys thought, because I went,
but that's okay. That's because now the doll, one of our earlier shows, one of our first shows, me and Lorilei were talking about elementals. And I made a gnome years ago. And
David and I have a problem with gnomes.
Yeah, I was gonna make a bunch of gnomes. I was gonna make a bunch of these gnomes, and I made this tall one like this, and I only made one really, and then I kept him. I mean, I had to keep him, and he's been with me. He moved, and he's very fragile. He's moved. He's now up on my shelf, and I don't know that he's haunted, but I will say this: we were talking about the elementals and that doll, and how the story went, if I can remember it correctly. I went up to grab it to show everybody in the screen.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I did, something fell off the counter behind it. And I didn't bother with it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to go pick it up. Yeah, I didn't even see it. It was darker in my room. And anyway, so I put it back up on the shelf. And after we got done with the show, I look on the floor and I have this ceramic palmistry hand. It's a little one. It's about like this big. It's a palmistry hand, and the pinky was broke off in the same position where my hand at the time, I had a problem with my hand. My fingers were stuck in here, and my right pinky didn't move for the last year. I couldn't get it to move. And it was right here, and that hand broke off right in the same exact place. So
it did. I sent you a video of my mouth wide open, like my jaw dropped, because I could not believe this. Because remember you sent me the video?
Yeah, because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And it was on the same hand. It's a left hand too. I fixed my hand, by the way, so I can move my fingers.
Carrie Lynn, I'm gonna try and show this quickly. Because you guys, if you're loving the haunted stuff, you got to stay tuned for the Outer Realm coming up right after us with the wonderful Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. It's their second night of their show. They have it Wednesdays and Thursday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Amazing guests. You guys are going to love it. Super well knowledgeable. Okay, let me see if I can get this up here quick. These are Carrie Lynn's, and then we got to get out of here, guys. They can come up. Hang on. Present. Show me where the present is. Share screen. Okay, give me 1 sec, guys. Of course, I got someone messaging me. I don't want someone messaging me. Let's hope this shows up. I don't need you guys seeing my face. Hang on, you guys. I got to close it because people love to message me. They know I am live, but they still send me stuff. Okay, hang on. Let me see what I can do here. All right, let's go back to screen share. There we go. So I know I have the right thing showing. Okay, just so these are Carrie Lynn's strange haunted dolls. I did not want to come up. Come on. Add to the stage. Okay, there we go. Let me make it bigger and I'll read her comment she sent.
I'm attracted to the one on my right. I'm attracted to that smaller one.
Are you? It does not want to get bigger. Sorry, guys, I tried. So what she said with it was, haunted and exclamation points, not feeling an attachment. I've had them since the spring and I'm not feeling anything. I think because she put nothing. I purposely don't put haunted energy towards.
Oh, you said, yeah. I feel, I took Carrie Lynn said, yes, the smaller one. There's an energy about that smaller one. I can feel it through the screen.
Well, you know what? Let's save it. You guys had a sneak peek. Let's save it for next week. Because we got a bunch of stuff. Like I say, we always go where you guys want to go. Okay. But we ended up going like we do, but we've been planning this for 3 weeks. We got spooky stuff. Other thing I want to tell you super quick. We're going to have a Halloween party on the 27th. If there's those of you that have haunted stories you want to send in, we may have a haunted panel to talk about haunted stuff. Maybe I saw your comment, Chris Binder, that you and Jonathan or JK47 are going paranormal investigating. I may ask Jonathan to come on or anybody else to do some EVPs, or I'm not sure yet. Same thing on the Angel Rock the night before Halloween. So we want to hear your ideas, right? Dave, do you want anything about the Halloween party?
Yes, absolutely. Show up on Halloween, bring us all kinds of stuff. And oh, that's wonderful, Christopher.
We're not going to pay any attention to that.
I know I'm not. But yeah, so we'll talk about the dolls next week. I'll keep those pictures. I want to find, don't tell me anything about that smaller doll because I'm already picking up a whole bunch of stuff on it. I'm going to jot it down.
Okay, let's do it next week. And we're going to talk about the haunted coins. Dave, you want to tell them where to find us, but before we do that though, if you guys have a show idea, guest suggestion, well, we don't do guests, I forgot. Show ideas.
You, Chris.
get a hold of us. Go ahead, Dave.
You can find me on TikTok under Medium David Hanzel. If it says there's over 94K followers, that's me. Anything under that, it's a fake. A lot of people impersonate me. You can also find me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is The Spirit Experience, where you can also watch this live in The Spirit Experience. My Facebook group is The Spirit Experience, and my Instagram is Medium David Hanzel. My website is theywhispertome.com. Thank you. And remember, I never, ever, ever DM people and solicit readings. Neither does Lorilei.
Never. So if you want to get a hold of me to book a reading, I do energy healing. I also do mentoring and teaching, or get a show idea or guest suggestion for Monday night. You can get a hold of me on facebook.com/the Angel Rock. I also have 2 groups on Facebook: Paranormal University for all things paranormal, and the Angel Rocker Tribe for more of the spiritual things we talked about tonight. There was one more thing I was going to, Monday night, Angel Rock, 6 p.m. I will not be on YouTube. So you guys know that I'm just going to put up mystery guest so that nobody cuts the feed, because we're not going to be talking about the regular topics. We're going to be talking about this incredible healing device that's out there that I am even going to try myself. I'm not trying to sell it. We're just going to share the info. Okay. Yep. Love you all. We will see you on Monday. And then David and I will be back next week for sure. Right, David? Same time,
same. Sure will.
Love y'all. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.